Hey friends, Shug here with Women's Hot Topics. If any of you know me, you know I'm a grandma wannabe. I love those little toddlers. I love their little cheeks. They're just so adorable and they come up with the funniest questions. I absolutely love it. And especially if you're pregnant or maybe somebody in your family is pregnant and they'll say, "Why is mommy's tummy growing? Where do babies come from? Mommy, can boys have a baby?" Don't you love the questions that young toddlers have? And I love to see life through their eyes. And in today's upside down world, where the culture is trying to tell us what we should teach our kids, especially when it's against the Bible, isn't it refreshing to know there's a book out there of truth? And Abby Johnson has written this book, and you guys are going to absolutely love it. It's called What's in Mommy's Tummy? And the animation is absolutely adorable. The wording is absolutely beautiful. And today I have Abby Johnson on with me. Thank you, Abby, for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Abby Johnson worked for Planned Parenthood for 8 years, working her way up through the ranks to become the clinic director in Bryan, Texas. She was Planned Parenthood's Employee of the Year in 2008, but walked away from her job after witnessing the abortion of a 13-week-old fetus during an ultrasound guided abortion. In 2012, she founded And Then There Were None, the only, get this, friends, the only ministry in the nation that helps abortion workers leave their jobs and find new ones outside of the industry. To date, she has helped over 700 abortion workers quit. She also founded Pro Love Ministries and Loveline in the fall of 2019. Her best selling book, Unplanned, I read the book, get the book, pick it up, it's amazing, was made into a feature film that debuted in theaters nationwide March 2019 under the same name. She and her husband, Doug, have, get this, friends, 8 children. And look at how hot she looks. Please find us on YouTube, friends, or podcast anywhere where you listen. And she is a good looking woman. Again, thank you, Abby, for coming on the show.
Of course. Thank you. It's always fun to be with you.
I was reading your reviews and I was on your website and I was reading the adorable book. And here's one of the reviewers. So, one of the reviewers said, "Here is a book that Christian parents can feel confident will line up with the Bible." And that's really important to us moms. In a simple, easy way, parents can teach their children that the baby mommy is carrying is already a human baby created by God, and that baby will either be a boy or a girl. Tell me, friend, why did you decide to write this book?
Yeah, so it was kind of crazy. I was flying through an airport one day going to an event, and I saw an article pop up on social media. And the article was talking about how there was going to be a book, a board book, which generally is, for kids between ages 3 and 5. And this book was going to be normalizing and really helping kids understand the good reasons that women have abortions. And I just thought, what? That's insane. I mean,
It's a book
I,
teaching kids why it's okay to get an abortion.
yes.
Okay.
And I just thought, what are we doing? I mean, I have 8 children. I've never, I believe that everybody is born pro-life. Everybody is born knowing that there's something sacred and good growing inside of a woman's uterus. You'll never meet a pro-abortion kid. Um, Everybody understands the value of life at a young age. It's not until, we start listening to worldly sin, the sins of the world, when they start coming into our head and they start making things gray for us, and we start listening to the enemy, that suddenly we seem to justify abortion. But every child, if you ask them, is it okay to kill a baby in a mommy's tummy? They would say no. No one would say yes. And so when I read this, I just thought that is crazy. And we need to be creating books that make it easy for parents to start talking to their kids at a younger and younger ages, just to start opening up the conversation about life and the beauty of life and the value of life, and that God has created each and every person in his image, and that every single one of these kiddos is made perfectly. And so, yeah, so that's why I did it. So I got on the plane, and actually there was no Wi-Fi on the plane, on that particular plane. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to write a children's book. And so in that, hour and a half flight, I just wrote a children's book. And when I landed, I emailed one of the editors at Focus on the Family and said, I've just written a children's book. Would you guys be interested in publishing it? And they were like, probably, send it over. And now I'm contracted for 6 children's books total.
Hey, how exciting.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
So this is just the first of 6 or more.
it.
And Luke, the little boy in the book, is charactered after one of my children. So I
Good.
have to write at least 8 so that I can go through each one of my kids. So we'll
So
see.
that's right. 8 kids, 8 books. I think that totally makes sense. I
Yeah.
absolutely love it. I love it. I would imagine if it were me and I saw that book uh, about promoting abortion, I would have been angry. And I could see why you got on the airplane and just, God just used you in a powerful way to write, write, write. And so he opened up the floodgates because it's needed. And I'm reading this cute and adorable book, thinking I gotta find somebody I can read this to who's young because it's so cute. And it's just done in a lovely way. Nothing that's confrontational. Everything is truth, speaking truth. And I just love the character. Luke, he was just so adorable. But you know what else I enjoyed? I enjoyed that you celebrate babies in the book. Tell me a little bit about that. You're celebrating babies.
Yeah, I mean, children celebrate babies, right? And babies love children. So every little baby you see, you can try as an adult, try to get a baby to laugh at you or smile, and they're kind of just like, sometimes they will, but sometimes they just stare at you. But if you get a little toddler to walk up to a baby, that baby will smile and laugh, because children understand children. And so I think that by celebrating children, and by celebrating life and doing it early, I think that we do a great favor to our kids. And so, my kids we've always celebrated, the babies in our families. As soon as we can see them on an ultrasound, as soon as we know that they exist, we begin celebrating them. Um, and so I think I think everybody should do that in their family. And, we lost a child, and
So
through miscarriage, and my children grieved the loss of that child because we had celebrated the life of that child. And so, we have at the cemetery, we have a marker, and we all go on that child's death day, and we all go, and we grieve and we mourn together as a family, because that child was their sister. And so I think it's important that we don't just tell our children that, a baby in the womb is only a baby if the child is wanted, or if the child makes it to birth, or whatever. I think that we start celebrating immediately as soon as we know a child even exists.
absolutely. Absolutely. I loved in the book too how you had, he's asking, I don't want to give it away to our listeners, so friends, please pick it up. But I love the way that you have a Q&A section too in there.
Yes.
Kids can ask questions. What are some questions you might be able to find in there that you answer?
Yeah, I mean, so we want parents to be able to have, conversations with their kids after the book. So, you know, we do touch a little bit, like a little tiny bit at the end. We touched on, can boys have babies, or, what is the role of a man, a father? What's the role of that person in the family, and what's the role of a mother in a family? So we do touch on that a little bit. Um, so, we just wanted to ask some questions that parents could, start that kind of dialogue with their kids, and talk about babies, the importance of babies. And, you know, even you can even talk about, as your kids get older, because I know with my kids, like we read books, kind of as a family. And so even as my kids get older, we've been able to discuss, the story of Jesus and why he came into the world as a baby and what that was like and why did he do that? Why didn't he just, why didn't God just mold him from, the earth, the dirt, like Adam and Eve? I mean, there's like things you can get into, even if I'm reading this in front of my 5-year-old and my 12-year-old, there's still discussions that we can have as a family.
Yeah. What fun. And what tender moments too. I mean, you're the one teaching your kids, not culture and not society. I love that. And I think it's also important that the text is very clear and it's very appropriate, and the illustrations are colorful and beautiful. And by the way, a shout out to Stephanie Alianto. Is that the correct way to
Yes.
say her name? She's
Yeah, she
illustrator.
was the illustrator and she was fantastic. And we had um I just had people submit. We just kind of had an open submission for illustrators. And I had a view in my mind kind of what I wanted. And we had so many just amazingly talented illustrators um, put forth some images and drawings. And when I saw Stephanie's come through, I immediately said, this is it. This is exactly what's in my head. This is it. And
Yeah,
so I'm hoping that we'll be able to work together on some of the future books because I really just love her style and I love that it looks sketched
yeah,
and not like a digital sort of image, but that it looks hand drawn and
yes.
just everything was so great. It looked so great and just kind of fell into place really well. So
Good job, Stephanie.
yeah.
It was terrific. I'm so excited about your upcoming books. Um, I also liked that there's a link to parenting materials from
Mhm.
Focus on the Family. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so Focus on the Family has materials for, marriage and family, for young people. I mean, they have materials on just about everything that you could possibly looking for in your life. And so young adults, older adults, single, married, I mean, just parenting. And so we wanted to include some resources there because there may be a parent that reads this to their child and maybe they're struggling, maybe they're struggling financially, maybe they're just struggling feeling like they're so overwhelmed and they're overwhelmed with tasks, or maybe they're a single parent and they need some support. Um, Parenting is tough, it's a challenge, and we all need to feel supported as we're doing it. And we need to know that, God is walking with us through this journey. He's given us these children for a reason, and they're on loan, right? He gives
Uh,
us to them, and then our job
Very
is to get them back to heaven.
Yeah, very
And
good.
so we need that community of support and just wisdom from other people that have, been parents and have kind of gotten to the finish line, successfully. And so we did want to put those resources from Focus on the Family. They're really great and they tackle a bunch of different issues that parents might be going through or might be struggling with, just might need some resources on.
So where can we find this wonderful book?
So you can get it pretty much anywhere that books are sold. A lot of people buy from Amazon. Of course, it did sell out on Amazon a couple of times, but it's back now in stock. So yes, and crazy places actually. I mean, it's like on Walmart, and I found out right at the beginning at pre-sale, actually, Target was selling it, which was crazy because
Good.
Target usually, if it's pro-life, they're no, not going to touch it, but
Oh,
they
yeah.
they have it still. Um, so yeah, I mean, I feel like word about life
Mm,
and about the celebration of babies is kind of getting everywhere. It's everywhere. So just very excited and excited about, upcoming things that the Lord wants us to talk about in our families. And,
yeah.
we do need to, there's a book that I think it's called like 10,000 Dresses or something. And it's about a little boy who's likes to wear dresses and is cross-dressing. And it's a board book for small children.
Mm,
And I just thought these are the things that we have to tackle,
mm.
directly. We have to, as parents, we need to be the ones that are going up against this because it's our children that are
Yeah,
being affected.
I know.
And my goodness, we certainly have read enough children's books to figure out how to create, good Christian alternatives
Oh,
to just
yeah.
this smut that's
Yeah.
out there.
And it's really the enemy, Abby, plain and simple. Satan is alive and well, and he wants to attack the heart of our families. And I
Mhm.
think this book is just such a tender little sweet story. I absolutely love it. And friends, if you want to find Abby, you can go to Abby, ABBY with a J, .com and find her at her website. Are they able to notify you there if they want you to come and speak at some of their events?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a contact link there, and you can click on that, and that comes to me.
And I want you to go on there, spend some time on the website because she has podcasts on a variety of different subjects, videos, movies, books, and then talks about some of the organization things that they do with, and then there were none, the pro love ministries, Love Line. And so what else is on your horizon that we can be praying for, Abby?
Well, I have a documentary that is called Unthinkable that will be out at the end of the year. Um, it really highlights the work that we do at And Then There Were None, and it is taking some of the most horrific stories you can even think of that these workers, testimonies, things that these workers have seen and witnessed, and we're putting them together in a documentary for the public to see what's really happening in these abortion facilities. And it's going to be horrific, but very eye-opening and something that I hope pro-lifers and people who support abortion will both go and see,
Yeah,
because the
absolutely.
truth needs to be heard.
Yeah, and it's painful. I mean, the first time I saw the movie, I pulled my husband and I said, "You got to watch this with me." And of course, it's painful to see, but it's the truth, and we need to know what's going on because they're trying to lure them in and talk them into it, and it's just crazy. But I'm so thankful for everything you're doing. Please let us know when that documentary is available. I'd love to give it a shout out.
I will. Thank you so much.
Okay, well, we will be praying for you for your success for your next 7 books. So you have 8 total, one for each kid. And thank you again for coming on. Abby, you have inspired me and inspired us to rise up to be better women as we're raising our kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Friends, this is Shugbury. You know I love you. Over and out.